toss is imminent. Yep, that's a real coin, and now it's in the air. And Świątek will do the duties as she wins the toss, elects to serve, and we're ready to get underway. Maria, climb the ladder, get yourself in position. It's time to get to business. Our third match today, second inside the Lotus Court, as we welcome you, tennis fan, ni hao, to Beijing and the China Open. Magda, Linette, Iga Świątek, Poland versus Poland in this Sweet 16 encounter. Sophie Amiak, as we take a look at the draw, things have gone pretty well. This is the only match, by the way, in the bottom half of the draw that does not only feature Swiatek, but Garcia, 2017 champion here, as well as Maria Sakkari, Guadalajara champion, and Kudermetova, Tokyo champion, and U.S. Open champion Coco Gauff. It's a busy bottom half.
I would say so. Pretty strong field for sure, but this woman right here, 31 years old, is trying to do probably the impossible in some way, shape, or form. First of all, they've never played each other, so it's pretty amazing when you think about it. You know, they've been on the tour for quite a while, but never played each other. But for sure, she's been in the shadow of, you know, the former #1 player in the world, Iga Świątek.
Yeah, for the last 4 years or so, as Świątek has come into prominence, it's actually the 31-year-old experience, her finest season to date as a pro. 27 wins on the year, one shy of setting a personal best at tour level in a single season. Her best performance at a major, Final Four at the Australian Open to start the year, and a top 20 debut, holding the 19th ranked position in the world for 9 weeks between March and May. And now she goes up, as we take a look at Marc Gellard, her coach. Yeah, they've had to put together what they hope is a fine strategy to try to knock off the former #1, because it's a big ask to take down Świątek, who, of course, having another stellar season.
Yes, I mean, she's been playing pretty amazing tennis when you think, except for maybe the loss against Ostapenko we saw earlier today, blasting through Pegola at the U.S. Open. It was in the 4th round where she was beaten by the Latvian, but other than that, pretty steady. Of course, the title at Roland Garros and 2 1,000 finals. So yeah, I would say that was a pretty good year for her.
Yeah, adding to her cachet, titles number 12, 13, 14, and 15, as Sophie mentioned. A 3rd title in Paris at Roland Garros, as well as a number of others. But all in all, she wants to finish strong because she already knows she's qualified for the WTA finals in Cancun. That's all well and good. But you have to have some sort of momentum going in. Last year, she didn't have much, and she was upended, didn't win a single match in Fort Worth.
Yeah, which was very surprising. But, you know, last year was also a very strong year for her. I think she came in a bit tired mentally and physically after a really amazing year that she had in 2022. But yeah, you know, I think it's all about practice and getting ready, and you know, playing the 1,000 level is always prestigious, and she wants to get the trophy like everybody else still in the field.
They have not faced each other. Linette has beaten Polish players 3 out of 4 times previously, and the only time Iga Świątek has faced a fellow Pole, she beat Magdalena Frech. But this is a different kettle of fish because it's an all top 25 encounter. And in getting through here, Iga Świątek in her Beijing debut had an easy path in her opening match against Sorribes Tormo, winning 6-4, 6-3. Then had a rain-interrupted contest against Varvara Gracheva, 6-4, 6-1, although there was a 90-minute rain delay in the midst of it, but it didn't dismay Świątek's progress.
Actually, the opposite. She came back even like a roller coaster against Gracheva. And yeah, and for Linette, well, kind of an easy, in a way, you know, round, especially the second round. But against Azarenka, it was 3-setter and tough one. But Azarenka, I think, was running out of gas in the 3rd set pretty much. And then played against Jane Brady. Unfortunately, Jane Brady had to retire after 4 games, down 3-1 with a knee injury, which hopefully we hope that Jane is going to come back pretty soon. And after what she's been through, we were talking about this a couple days ago. We really wish her all the best in recovery.
Yeah, a couple of Australian Open finalists, twice champion Azarenka, the first victim, as mentioned, of Linette. Then Brady was a former runner-up at the Australian Open. She's hoping that maybe the progress against, you know, Świątek's best result down under was a semi-final at the Australian Open, so maybe that will bode well for today. What doesn't bode well is the history and the win probability.
Ouch, that hurts. 89% versus 11%. Well, you know what? We've seen this before, right? This could change just in a very few moments. Just if one set goes the other way, you know, this probability will completely pivot.
They've never met before, but they hail from the same nation, and they're both members of the top 25 on the Hologic WTA Tour. 25 in the world, Magda, Linette, taking on number 2 and 2 seed here in Beijing, Iga Świątek, for a chance to move through into the quarterfinals to face either the winner of the Kalinina or Garcia match. Garcia, the only former champion of the China Open that remains in the draw after Linette saw off Azarenka in the opening round. So the stage is set inside the Lotus Court. Time to get to business. Third match of the day about to get underway, as it is Iga Świątek, who won the toss, elected to serve first. Will do so from the bottom of your screen. Let's get to business. Who's moving through to the last 8 in Beijing?
Well, we know the best asset for Świątek in her game is definitely the movement and how quick she is to get to the ball. Very explosive, running balls and going from defense to offense. Oh, she made it. Looked like it was going to fly out up to that leg cord, but was able to still find the court. Linette very steady from the baseline. Very good ground strokes.
And Świątek picks up where she left off against Gracheva. She only lost 5 points on serve in that 6-1 second set, and still has the hot hand as it carries over with a hold to love to begin. So for Iga Świątek, she's on pace to get close to tying last year's 67 match wins, a personal best in a single season. She's going for number 60 today, and Sophie, no surprise, she remains unbelievably consistent. Now in her 16th event of the year, going for her 14th quarterfinal.
Oh, that's incredible. Steady wins the race, right?
Indeed. Sometimes fast, sometimes slow, but steady is what ultimately gets it done, doesn't it? And really becoming more steady in her pursuit of success this year has been Linette. What has been the change that has seen her flourishing at 31?
Yeah, I think a little bit more consistency, and I think also belief, and you know, a few matches that, you know, give her more confidence, I think, and just consistency throughout the tournaments, throughout the year.
See how she stacks up as she serves for the first time. They've swapped ends. And Świątek showing no mercy early. Linette finally enjoying some success in Beijing. 4 times she's traveled here to try to qualify for the tournament, and 4 times she's failed. The only time she's been in the main draw, she did qualify those additional 2 times, but was 1 and done in the first round. So the fact she's got a couple wins under her belt should give her a little boost today. But are we already in the opening 6 points, Sophie, starting to see something that's difficult about this matchup?
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is right now it's pretty much all Świątek just being more aggressive from the get-go. And I feel like Linette is feeling a little bit crowded, a little bit suffocating right now by the rhythm of Świątek and the depth of the ball of Świątek. But you were asking earlier, you know, what changed in Linette. I think really the beginning of the year, starting with the semifinal of the Australian Open, really made a difference for her into finding the confidence and saying, you know what, if I can do this, you know, I have to believe. And, you know, that set up the year for her, of course, especially with the number of points that you get when you get to the semifinal. And then a final in Gwangju, which also helped tremendously before coming into Beijing. Finally get on the scoreboard here. She's quite happy here in Asia, because 5 of the 6 WTA level finals reached by Magda and Linette so far in her career have been in Asia. So it's Tokyo in 2015, Seoul in 2019, Hua Hin in 2020, Chennai in 2022, and Gwangju just last week, 2023. So I think she likes Asia.
I would say so, even if Beijing hasn't been a happy hunting ground until this season.
True. Well, she's just changing that now. At least she's done better than she's ever done here. Was almost a strike. Did tip that a little bit with a racket, but right now it's really the length of the balls from Linette. It's just too short in the court, and Świątek is definitely enjoying it.
early indications that Świątek is going to try to command a position on the baseline as she breaks for 2-love. Has only hit one winner. It has managed to grab 10 of the first 14 points to assume this 2-love lead.
Yeah, she's really moving Linette from side to side very well, and herself with great depth. Linette tried to hit deeper here, which she did. Try to push back Świątek, but how about this timing for this backhand down the line, just on top of the ball, very quick as usual for Świątek.
Świątek arrives. This is not the first match she's played during this Asian swing. Did play in Tokyo. Got a victory to move into the quarterfinals, where she was upended by the eventual champion Kudermetova. Could find herself in a rematch potentially with the champion in Tokyo in the semifinals, but that's obviously a ways off. Świątek all business right here. She continues to serve well. No, she's no longer perfect.
Good retrieving skills from Linette on that last shot.
Świątek was able to build that as 5 straight points on her serve, mostly on her second offering. She's only made one first serve. But now 5 of 6 on her second. And is there something that Iga is able to do particularly well? Is this just a nice string, or does she have a weapon that helps her to defend that second serve?
Well, you know, I think that's the weapon. The main weapon is the movement. I mean, we know that, and that's why she's, you know, and she reached the #1 player in the world, because her serve, and the first serve especially, is not the best. I think technically that there's definitely room for improvement, especially the way that she starts taking a racket, kind of an open face when she starts her motion. And for Linette, she should be on top of the baseline right now, returning the second serve. Such dominance since the beginning of this match for Świątek. Linette is just basically trying to survive out there.
Yeah, Świątek looks to, it seems, to maximize what could be some potential intimidation coming onto the court because of her stature in the game and in the nation of Poland. And she wants to squash out any hope or belief of Linette early, and she's doing just that. Even despite her woes on her first serve, just 1 of 8. She did win that point, but still. And Linette just hapless right now, not able to pick upon the second serve of Świątek. Iga knocks off her 3rd winner and her 3rd game in the opening quarter hour. Brilliant start for the world #2. She seeks a 3rd victory in Beijing. Certainly a big ask to take on Świątek, who has been so dominant for the better part of the last 2 seasons, and the impeccable run that she managed to show when she took over #1 last year. And even though she slipped in the rankings to #2, she's still obviously amongst the elite. For Linette, hoping to somehow find a way back into this match and produce what would be her 5th career top 10 victory. Seems a long way off right now, serving love 3. Some flashing on the signage courtside. Seems to be a distraction that can't blink, as Swiatek asked for it to be turned off.
Batters, please stop changing commercials. Thank you.
And so there'll be a pause. So it is pretty distracting. We've also seen the back wall a time or two come into play where it's just flashed. It is a distraction the players have had to deal with.
As soon as because your eyes are looking at the peripheral vision of everything on the court. So yeah, just like a flash, when the fan are taking pictures. So.
Yeah, just those blinking little advertisements along the walls that run along the sides of the court currently. With the advent of these magnificent electronic walls that have been used throughout the tour now, they do have their glitches at times. As we mentioned, Linette now trying to produce somehow, some way, some momentum here to try to see if she can knock off a top 10 opponent for the 5th time in her career. She has 1 win this year, having gotten the better of Caroline Garcia in that run to the Final 4 of the Australian Open. But she's lost her last 3 matches against top 10 foes and hasn't produced a single set in that run.
Talking to her coach right now, trying to get a few hints of what she could be doing. It is authorized now. This is part of the coaching on court, but used to be on court and changeovers when players were asking for their coach to come down. But now from the side, they're able to talk to their players. And
if you were in Marc Gillard's shoes, what would you impart to Magda here after this love 3 start?
I probably will try to play deeper and change the rhythm. Try to get some higher ball with a little bit more topspin in play. But definitely try to get the depth and attack the second serve of Świątek, which she had plenty of opportunity to do so. And it never happened throughout the service games of Świątek. We're talking about the amount of first serve was 1 out of 9 first serve throughout the match so far.
So things seem to be rectified and in order. And Swiatek back in the chair, and after a 5-minute delay between games 3 and 4, Linette ready to serve for a 2nd time.
This is not going to help at all. She's really needs to find some kind of energy and motivation. She looks pretty flat to me. When was the last time she played? Did she play a couple of days ago?
Well, in the Guangzhou final.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm thinking about, no, she didn't play obviously against Brady. I mean, it was like no match right there. You know, that could make, you know, make it difficult. You know, player thinks that, people think, oh, well, it's great. You know, she didn't have to play, but you really lose your rhythm. And sometimes players are saying that about the majors, that it's sometimes difficult because they always have like that day in between, especially if they don't play doubles.
Yeah, forgive me, I misunderstood your question, but yeah, to your point, the last full time she spent on the court was on Saturday night against Azarenka. So 4 days, with the exception of those 4 games against Brady.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you almost feel like you're not in a tournament anymore. Very difficult. That's why it looks like it's taking her quite a bit of time to even get into this match. It's been all about Świątek so far.
And continues to be all about Świątek through 4 games as Linette surrenders serve for a second time. Yeah, an extended period off court. Then you go up against the woman who basically dominates the tennis world in your home nation. I mean, does Iga Świątek, it's sort of a loaded question of sorts, but does she carry the weight of intimidation in the locker room?
I think that especially last year when she was 67-9 on their record, win-loss record. I think last year she was definitely carrying this. I think not as much this year. I think players are starting to obviously find ways to beat her. She's 59-11, counting the Billie Jean King Cup. So, you know, obviously losing only 11 times in a year is
pretty good.
Not that bad. But still. All right, now it felt like Świątek was a machine. And we know that the forehand is probably the weakest link, as well as the second serve. I still think, you know, if she has the opportunity to get a second serve, she really needs to get closer, I think, towards the line to attack it. We've seen a few of this returner serve against Azarenka that paid off for Linette, being aggressive.
Just the second time her first serve has gotten into the field of play. She's 2 for 2 on that, but Świątek has had to rely on being able to protect her second offering. I agree with you, though. Linette needs to put those heels on the baseline if she's looking at a second serve, right? I mean, really try to impose herself upon Iga. As of yet, unable to do so, or even really make a concerted effort to try.
It's too good. First serve, impeccable, great placement, lots of slice. I mean, we right now have played 28 points, not one winner from the racket of Linette. So that's telling about the dominance of Świątek.
Yeah, and yet how she does it is so deceptive too, because she only has 4 winners herself. It's not like she's just blasting past Linette, but she's certainly outmaneuvering her.
There's 5.
Yeah, there you go, 1 for the thumb. But yeah, she is all business. She is as dialed in as we've seen her already this week, and that's considering she hasn't lost a set. In fact, has run her way through, only losing 12 games thus far in now 5 sets.
Getting a little closer. Linette, the return of serve right here on the baseline. Yeah.
Toes almost on the line.
Right. Oh. That's it. Much different.
Here you go, partner.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what her coach told her to do. It's just one thing to say it. It's nothing to really be able to create the opportunity and produce it. Time comes, not easy. Surely the right tactic.
But Świątek, no problem, and she's starting to cook up what has become a familiar theme for her over the last 18 months or so, and that is shutting down opponents in a set, offering up the bagel early. It'll be up to Linette to try to avoid that as she falls behind 5-love. Never quite sure what your duties are going to be when you step on the court as a chair umpire. You obviously have the rules, the regulations, scorekeeping, sometimes a little housekeeping's in order, and sometimes just supply. Some tissues for Magda Linette on the ready as they have been found and registered, and now the 25th ranked player in the world trying to avoid being shut out in the opening set, serving for a 3rd time. First ever meeting against Świątek has been a lopsided opening half hour.
That's stepping into it a lot better. Being more aggressive.
Well, this would be gratifying and perhaps A little, certainly a boost of sorts for Linette. Make a little statement hold here to avoid the bagel and move through unblemished. And she's got it. Just her second winner. Comes with her first ace in her third service game to get on the board. And that will not be the 21st bagel of 2023 for Iga Świątek. Still could be the set, though, in very quick fashion. Świątek has only lost an average of 1 point per service game thus far today, as she looks to put herself a set to the good.
So she's at 20 bagels for 2023.
Where?
Wow. She had 21 last year, I think.
22, actually.
22?
Yeah.
So still a lot of room for her to get more, to beat that record of last year. Tremendous.
At this pace, she's still within a shot for sure.
It's getting a little better from the racket of Linette, no doubt. Finding the depth, finally getting something a little shorter that she can attack. I think Świątek kind of mishit that backhand in some ways.
This time Linette well inside the baseline for that second serve, and maybe too much so because she wasn't able to adjust her length. But right idea, correct?
Yes. I mean, listen, at this stage, being down 5-1, you're going to have to figure out something else. I think the second serve is something you can attack. Keep trying. Oh, she made it just by inches.
Well, that's where she was aiming.
That's true. Right on the line, the outside of the line, I should say.
A nice strike for our sixth winner to go 6 for 6 on first serves this evening. Close enough to warrant a peek for ourselves, not showing inside Lotus Court, but yeah, did not miss by much. And if it wasn't for the electronic line calling, Iga would have challenged that. Gave a long look towards the chair at Swiatek and then realized, oh well, no, not worth it. Nor should she lose her focus. She has been consistently at a high level from the start, and approaching the 35th minute, and now having reached it, she has set point.
Good attack again, stepping inside the court. And Świątek is going to look forward to having a first serve here. Maybe take a little pace off, but put that first in.
And she does just that and remains perfect. 7 of 7 on her first deal. Maybe her second serve could use some improvement, but her overall level of play can't do much better than a 6-1 start, as the quarterfinals, the last 8 in Beijing, is a set away. the proverbial drawing board for Magda Linette. She's going to have to come up with something different, change things up. A long layoff between matches, facing former #1 and the top player from her host nation. Nothing going right for Magda to this point, as she'll look to start fresh here in set number 2. She can't be passive and allow the same pattern of play to exist. So, Sophie Amak, we've asked, Linette, we talked about the second serve attacking, but that can't be the only place she has to improve. What else can she do to stop this runaway train? Is there anything she can do?
Yeah, I think that, changing the pace and the height of the ball would be something, but it's not really her type of game. She's playing really in the rhythm of Świątek right now. That was a good shot to play behind her. But, keep the ball deep during the exchange. Try to maybe mix a little bit the height of the ball with some more topspin and some acceleration, just to kind of change the rhythm a little bit. That's asking a lot, because it's not really Linette's game. She's very linear. She likes to really make contact and be aggressive and hit that ball early, dictate the point herself. Right now, she's definitely not in that position.
That's got to feel overwhelming. It's almost like...
It's frustrating, I'm sure. No doubt.
Almost like in basketball terms, she's being full court pressed. I mean, just there's nowhere to go. Just Świątek is all up in her business. And now starting to hit clean winners, a pair in this opening game to put herself to break point. And the woes continue. Immediately breaking for a third time, and Świątek now in control, a set and a break against fellow Pole Magda Linette. Well, we often mention it in those opening 36 minutes. Literally was one-way traffic right from the outset, as Świątek stormed through the opening service game to love, and then won the next 2 in Linette's things. So never really any breathing room for Linette as we take a look at the numbers from that opening frame.
Yeah, it was just that 5-love for Świątek that Linette was able to hold her serve with an ace and hold that love. But that was about the most positive, on Linette's first set. I mean, it's just not working. 9 unforced for 3 winners, not even close to getting a look at a break point. And even with the first serve percentage being so low from Świątek, she just has it from the get-go, be aggressive on the second serve, and I think that was a big mistake. Tactically, when you come to a court, you have to have some kind of tactic, and to me, it's a huge error from the coaching staff and from her, because
to not recognize that adjustment.
I mean, not even adjustment. When you get on the court against Świątek, any players who play Świątek should have this exact same mentality. Well, this is a rough stat.
Yeah, this is part and parcel as to why Świątek has been so dominant the last 2 seasons. Forget about even this season. Overall, since the start of 2022, she's 109-3 when leading by a set. You saw the one loss this year. That was to Ostapenko at the U.S. Open in the round of 16. And in a tournament of this caliber, in her career, unbeaten. 55-0.
When she wins the first, yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Well, let's not whisper this in the ear of Linette, okay? That's depressing. If you know that when
depressing for the tour.
It's depressing for the player who's for the tour, but for that player who's playing her right now. Wow.
Seemed almost fitting that it was Ostapenko who snapped her 50-match win streak when winning the opening set this year, because she doesn't care about that stuff.
No.
It's all about Jelena. She looked impressive today in her victory over Jessica Pegula, knocking out the 4 seed in straight sets, 6-4, 6-2. Ostapenko faced Samsonova in the quarterfinals. And Świątek opens up her initial service game in the second set, as she did when she served to start the match, and that's without losing a point on serve. Now making it 8 of 9 games total.
I did like the return though on the second serve from Linette. It was a little bit more aggressive, but you know, Świątek was on the back foot, and then all of a sudden from defense she started to play deep. A little bit of more shape of the forehand of Świątek to get that ball a little bit higher, and little by little she was the one and the aggressor, and winning the point with a winner.
Sometimes though, Sophie, as we've come to know over watching as many tennis matches as we have, and Tennis Fan at home or wherever you're watching, you're invited to the conversation as well. But bottom line, sometimes it's just matchups, isn't it? I mean, even if Linette's playing at her best, doing everything she does exceptionally well,
it's still going to be a tough match. Totally.
I mean, is there anything that she does, well, maybe
that she can
better
bother
than Świątek?
Not today.
Well, certainly.
I think she just doesn't have much to bother Świątek. I mean, it's every ball is right in the striking zone area for Świątek to attack. There's no slice from the game of Linette that could get the ball a little lower, especially to the forehand of Świątek that has a very pronounced Western grip. Yeah, our game is really not suited to bother Świątek today, or any days for that matter. It would have to be for Świątek to really, really drop considerably in our level, and you know, for Linette to move better, to retrieve more balls, be more aggressive, use the drop shots, move, you know, Świątek to the net. I mean, there's a lot of things she could be doing, but it's just not an instinct. It's not really her game. You know, you have an Ons-Jabeur, you know, could probably do a few things, serve and volley, you know, drop shot and coming in. But that is a total different game here. Well, I guess she and her team did get the memo about attacking the second serve. She's one of the best receivers in the game.
And more ruthless to start this second set than she was in the initial when she ran off to a 5-love start. Świątek racks up more games to start the second set than Linette has points. It's 3-2. And Świątek merciless to this point as she posts a 6-1 3-love lead. As she continues to motor through and continues to try to find a way to make the most in her debut in Beijing. And boy, has she flourished. Dropped 12 games en route to the round of 16. She's only given up one additional to Magda Linette, she being the former world #1. Iga the Merciless on a roll. Yeah, the dominance is it basically mirrors this run of last 10 points, mirrors the match, doesn't it? 9-1.
Oh.
That being the scoreline as she commits an error, a rarity thus far, just her second of the set, 8th overall.
I'd say that ball was lower.
And you know what that was, Sophie? That was a first serve. That's the first point she's lost on her first serve today. Correction made.
That was quick.
Yeah.
Too much of this line, it seems. Didn't have to hit it that well. She knew it. As soon as she hit it, you could see her move towards looking at that line with her body language. She felt that that ball flew out of her racket a little bit too much. And this is the difficult thing when you're playing against somebody like Świątek, who is probably one of the best mover with Coco Gauff on tour, is that you can't get through them because every single ball is coming back, no matter how much pace you're putting on the ball. I mean, you have to have the Sabalenkas, the Ostapenkos kind of pace in the ball to do a dent against somebody like Świątek.
And Świątek continues to run through an identical 4-love start to begin the set. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that because of the fact that obviously the players that she's lost to this year with her 11 losses, she's lost to Rybakina 3 times, Pegula a couple times, Sabalenka. You got the loss to, of course, Ostapenko, Svitolina.
Svitolina was to me, yeah. What was that? No. Obviously not the French since she won it.
That was at Wimbledon in the quarterfinals.
Yeah. Well, that's grass.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
Fair. Coco Gauff, of course.
Yeah.
Kudermetova in Tokyo, maybe not quite up to that caliber, but still hits it.
Kudermetova can hit a ball and
lace
very
it,
fast. Yeah, she can definitely put a lot of pace on that ball. So yeah, I mean, you can see that the majority of these players striking the ball with a lot of pace. Well, finally, she got on the stretch.
Don't want to leave out Lucia Bronzetti. It doesn't really qualify, but she's going to call it a win because remember the walkover?
Oh, well.
Listen, hey, they were supposed to take the court, and she's the one who advanced, so. the lone mention name we didn't mention, of course, Barbara Krejcikova in the Dubai final. But yeah, it's been you got to be dazzling, and you got to bring the power game to beat Iga.
Yeah, either that or mix up also with slice and higher ball with, you know, I could see Krejcikova just hitting that kind of, you know, topspin with the forehand, using the two-hander flats on the backhand, but also that slice backhand that she has. So, and, you know, also coming to the net, asking the question for Świątek to pass. So there is, you know, the different games that could really bother maybe Świątek. But the one thing about Świątek, when you look at, you know, the long run in her game, she's going to have to really get a better serve, I think, because players are going to start and keep attacking the second serve. And as she gets older, if you think about it, she's going to get slower. So how much can you... Someday, I know. Well, it's not today, it's not tomorrow, but,
yep,
you know,
right.
You have to look at the long run. And when you work so hard to defend your serve, because you're really defending the second serve by really running balls that are being slammed at you, how long can you make that, you know, effort and be there on time to be able to defend? So it'll be interesting to see, but hopefully I think that the serve will be addressed and will be somewhat, especially the second serve, improved.
Well, the true greats are always looking to make those improvements, fine-tune their game. You would imagine that Świątek, as she continues to threaten for the top ranking in the game, that she'll want to do just that. And once again, Linette, benefiting from the error of Świątek, will not suffer a shutout set. She's on the board, but it's a considerable mountain to climb. 10 of the first 12 games in favor of the 2 seed, Świątek. Back to the lesson at hand, or the lesson she's trying to hand to Magda Linette. Pretty emphatic effort thus far from Iga Świątek, serving up a set and a double break.
Boy, is she moving side to side, Magda Linette, in this exchange and throughout this match. Just constantly getting Linette completely off rhythm and out of sorts. Really not balanced when she's hitting her shots.
Yeah, just being forced to scramble time and time again, covering so much ground as Magda Linette, as Świątek has her on a string.
Because Magda Linette looks like a windshield wiper to you? Because that's pretty much what's going on. It's
back and forth.
Unbelievable. Right, left. Unreal. Wow. She's just not giving her the same shot twice right now.
She's actually lost points on her first serve in the second set, but getting it in play has been increased significantly, doubling her success rate. Now 8 of 11 on the first tee. Remember, 7 of 7 in the opening set, despite only getting it in 33% of the time. But she really hasn't been bothered by anything. Nothing Linette has posed has caused Iga to even break a sweat.
29 points played in this set. No winners yet for Linette. Ouch. Okay.
But now she's just gone all Rachel McAdams, didn't she? She's the epitome of the mean girl out there right now.
Horrible. I mean, I feel for Linette because she is just running balls after balls after balls, and there's nothing going her way. It's like a metronome right now. Iga Świątek refusing to miss, inflicting the power. Wow.
Yeah, this has been clinical.
Yep.
And so for Magda Linette, she finished last year 49 in the world. Her third time concluding a season ranked inside the top 50. She's going to improve upon that no matter what now. Currently at number 25 and seemingly on her way out of Beijing. That's the tough news to swallow today. The good news is the math almost seems certain that she will finish inside the top 30, her best ever year-end finish. Did win a 125K event late last year in Tampico in Mexico, but not a lot of points there on offer that are going to fall off. So unless she plays a trio of events to finish, and I mean that was last year's schedule, mind you. She doesn't have points other than that to really defend this year. So a top 30 finish seems certain.
Yeah, which will ensure her to be seated at the Australian Open.
Exactly.
Hopefully so.
And she'll have a lot of points to defend there.
Yep, she sure will. But you know, it's important for her to be seated.
Yeah.
So at least to know that she's not going to play the seed in the first round. No chance for this to happen.
Or the second.
Or the second, for that matter.
And maybe not the third if she can get some help.
That too.
Those semifinal points looming large as she lost to the eventual champion Sabalenka in the final four.
I love that crowd reaction. Oh, yes it is. Oh, I feel the same way. I'm looking at this match going, oh my goodness. Poor Linette. She's probably wishes to get off the court ASAP right now. Mentioned clinical. Sure is. finally. Able to get Iga Świątek on the stretch. Hasn't been happening very often today.
Oh, it was there. Magda saw it, wanted it, but couldn't execute. And she's up against it now. About to be handed her exit papers. As Świątek looks to complete a thorough performance in her first ever match against her fellow Pole. And surrendered just 2 games in the process. All-out destruction mode from Iga Świątek as she picks up win number 60 on the season and advanced to her 14th quarterfinal of the year, 7 of which have come at WTA 1000 events, as she dismantles the game of the number 2 player from Poland. The 2 seed through, dropping 2 games en route to the quarterfinals of the China Open. Sophie, that's how you get it done. 65 minutes on and off.
I mean, that was incredible play. Just such dominance throughout the whole match. I guess one good thing for Linette as she's leaving the court is that she's still in doubles and playing with Peyton Stearns. They actually beat the US Open champion of Dabrowski and Rutlev yesterday. So that's one thing to look forward for her, but she tried everything she could. It's just that the tactic wasn't there. She didn't really have any tools to really bother Świątek today, but she did run many balls, that's for sure. She did get her workout done, no doubt.
Listen to the way that Iga played. She was very reminiscent of that dominant run that she had last year when she just ran match after match after match off. For Linette, even at her best, and if she was playing lights out at 10 out of 10, it would be tough to get Świątek. But today, it was Iga who was thriving from the opening point.
Yeah, and I love the way that she really played throughout the match, just moving Linette back and forth on the baseline, and didn't really give Linette very often, you know, 2 shots in a row. Just steady, and that .1 on serve at 78% is a pretty good amount. And Linette on that second set actually didn't get 1 winner. Not 1 winner on the second set. So 3 total was on the first set, 13 unforced, and +5 on the winner count versus unforced errors for Iga Świątek. Just complete dominance today, not even facing a break point.
It's a point away from doubling up Linette in points for the match as she moves through now to the quarterfinals to face either Kalinina, who had a pretty good effort thus far to get through. Świątek's beaten her the only time they played, or she could take on the 2017 champion here, Garcia.
Yeah, and Garcia, I think, won once against Świątek, but lost twice. So you know that there's still the record in favor of Świątek. It's always good to get into any matchup with this kind of records where you're dominating. Not big dominance, but still ahead on the head-to-head.
So Garcia, the last time they met was last year at the WTA Finals in Fort Worth, Texas. We'll see if they are destined to face off in the quarterfinals. But it was all Iga, all the time, from start to finish, as the former #1 continues to assert herself as the top player from Poland, and she's in the last 8. Has to feel good about her performance, and rightfully so. She knows she's already qualified for Cancun in the WTA finals. Here's the leaderboard with the first 5 positions filled. Sabalenka through Pegula with 3 positions remaining. Vondrousova, Muhova, and Jabeur all out of this tournament or not present at all, but they occupy those 3 positions currently with lots of tennis still left to play. Ostapenko, Samsonova, Świątek through. One more match to be played coming up. Mira Andreeva, the talented teen, and the qualifier taking on Elena Rybakina. That's coming up next in the Lotus Court.